The rain hammers against the black SUV as Dante Russo steps out to make a call. But instead he hears a small voice behind him. Sir, can you help me? He turns. A little girl stands there, soaking wet, holding a pink backpack that's almost as big as she is. She can't be more than 7 years old. Her dark hair is plastered to her face. Her shoes are falling apart. And her eyes, those eyes stop him cold. Dark brown, almost black, with a distinctive gold fleck in the left iris that he sees every morning in his mirror. What are you doing out here alone? Dante asks, his voice rougher than he intends. The girl looks up at him with desperate hope. Please don't leave me here. I've been waiting for you. Dante stares at this child who somehow knows him. Waiting for who? For you. The girl pulls out a crumpled photograph from her backpack. Her small fingers are shaking as she holds it up. Mama said if anything ever happened to her, I should find the man in this picture. She said you'd keep me safe. The photograph is 8 years old, creased and faded from being handled too many times. But Dante recognizes it immediately. It's him and Elena, taken at the cafe where they first met. She's laughing at something he said, her head thrown back, her hand on his chest. He's looking at her like she's the only person in the world who matters. Where did you get this? Dante's heart is pounding in a way that has nothing to do with danger and everything to do with a past he thought he'd buried. Mama keeps it in her wallet. She looks at it when she thinks I'm asleep. The girl's lower lip trembles. But 3 days ago, bad men came to our apartment. Mama told me to hide in the closet. She told me to stay quiet no matter what I heard. Tears start streaming down her small face. I heard her screaming. I heard them hitting her. And then everything got quiet, and they left. When I came out, there was blood everywhere and Mama was gone. Dante feels something cold settle in his chest. What's your mother's name? Elena. Elena Martelli. The girl wipes her nose with the back of her hand. And I'm Lucia. She named me after your grandmother. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. 80 miles away, in a basement that smells of mildew and fear, Elena Martelli wakes up to darkness and pain. Her head throbs where one of her kidnappers hit her. Her wrists are raw from the zip ties cutting into her skin, but the physical pain is nothing compared to the terror of not knowing what happened to Lucia. Please, Elena whispers into the darkness, not sure if anyone can hear her. Please, my daughter. She's only 7. She needs me. A door opens at the top of the stairs, flooding the basement with harsh light. Heavy footsteps descend, and Elena forces herself to sit up despite every muscle screaming in protest. The man who appears is tall, broad-shouldered, with a scar running down his left cheek. He looks at Elena with the kind of cold assessment that makes her skin crawl. You're awake. Good. His accent is thick, Russian. We have much to discuss, you and I. I don't have anything to discuss with you. Just let me go. I don't have money. I don't have anything valuable. The man laughs. But you do have something valuable. You have connection to Dante Russo. Elena's blood runs cold at the mention of that name. A name she hasn't spoken out loud in 8 years. A name she's tried so hard to protect Lucia from. I don't know anyone by that name. The man pulls out his phone and shows her a photograph. It's recent, taken from across a street. Dante, looking older than she remembers. Harder, walking out of an expensive-looking building in a suit that probably costs more than her yearly rent. This is the man who destroyed my family's business. This is the man who had my brother sent to prison. And you, Elena Martelli, you are going to help me make him pay. I told you, I don't know him. The man leans closer, and Elena can smell cigarettes and vodka on his breath. We know you lived with him 8 years ago. We know you disappeared without a word. And we know, he pulls out another photograph. This one makes Elena's heart stop. We know about the child. It's a picture of Lucia, taken from a distance, probably at school. Her daughter smiling, unaware she was being watched by monsters. Don't you touch her, Elena hisses, suddenly finding strength she didn't know she had. Don't you dare go near my daughter. Your daughter? The man smiles. Or Dante Russo's daughter? Because that is the question that interests me very much. Back in the city, Dante carries Lucia into his penthouse, ignoring the shocked look on his housekeeper's face. The child hasn't said much during the drive, just clutched that photograph of him and Elena like it's a lifeline. Are you hungry? Dante asks, setting her down gently. Lucia nods. I haven't eaten since yesterday, maybe the day before. I don't remember. Dante opens his refrigerator, realizing he has no idea what 7-year-olds eat. He settles on making her a sandwich with the ingredients he finds, watching as she devours it like she hasn't seen food in days. Which, he realizes grimly, she probably hasn't. While she eats, Dante makes a call. "Marco, I need you at my place. Now. And bring everything we have on missing persons reports from the last week. Focus on women. Mid-30s, Riverside District. Boss, what's going on? Just get here." After Lucia finishes eating, she looks around the penthouse with wide eyes. "This is where you live? It's so big." "Yes." Dante sits down across from her, trying to figure out how to handle this situation. "Lucia, I need you to tell me everything you remember about the men who took your mother. What they looked like, what they said, anything." Lucia's eyes fill with tears, but she nods. "There were 2 of them. One was really tall with a scar on his face. He talked funny, like the Russian lady who lived in our building. The other one was shorter and he kept looking at his phone." "Did they say anything about why they were taking your mother?" "The tall one said something about teaching someone a lesson, and the short one said they needed to move fast before Dante Russo found out." Lucia looks at him. "That's you, right? You're Dante Russo?" "Yes. And you're my daddy?" The question hangs in the air between them. Dante looks at this child with his eyes, eating a sandwich in his kitchen, asking him if he's her father. 8 years ago, Elena disappeared without a word. 8 years ago, he searched for her for months before giving up. 8 years ago, she could have been pregnant and never told him. "I don't know," Dante says honestly, "but we're going to find your mother and ask her. What if she's dead?" The blunt question catches him off guard. "Then I'll make sure the people who hurt her pay for what they did, and I'll make sure you're safe. Will you keep me? Even if Mama's gone?" Dante looks at this small person who's already lost so much, who's being so brave despite being terrified. "Yes, I'll keep you." In the basement, Elena has lost track of time. It could be hours or days since the Russian man left her alone again. She's tried every possible way to escape, but the zip ties are too strong and the basement door is locked from the outside. She thinks about Lucia constantly. Wonders if her daughter found Dante like she was supposed to. Wonders if Dante will even care about a child he never knew existed. Wonders if she made the worst mistake of her life by running away 8 years ago instead of trusting him with the truth. The door opens again. This time there are 2 men. One Elena recognizes as the Russian with the scar. The other is older, distinguished-looking, with silver hair and cold eyes. "Elena Martelli," the older man says. "My name is Victor Kozlov. You have something I want." "I don't have anything. You have information. About Dante Russo's operations. His weaknesses. His vulnerabilities. I told you. I don't know him anymore. Whatever he does now, I'm not part of it." Victor signals to the scarred man, who grabs Elena's hair and yanks her head back. "But you were part of it once. You lived with him, loved him. Men tell their lovers things they tell no one else. That was 8 years ago. Whatever I knew is ancient history. Then let me make this simple." Victor pulls out his phone and shows her a live video feed. "It's Lucia's school. Children playing in the yard during recess. We know where your daughter goes to school. We know her schedule, her teacher's name, the route she takes home. You can either tell me what I want to know, or we can have a conversation with her instead." Elena feels rage and terror warring inside her. "You're threatening a 7-year-old child? I'm offering you a choice. Help me destroy Dante Russo, or watch your daughter suffer." Dante has Marco set up surveillance on every property connected to the Kozlov family. He's made calls to every informant, every contact, everyone who might have information about Elena's kidnapping, and he's trying to figure out what to do with Lucia, who's currently asleep in his guest room, exhausted from 3 days of fear and survival. "Boss," Marco says quietly, looking at the results of a quick DNA test Dante had rushed through. "It's a match. She's yours." Dante stares at the paper, confirming what he already knew in his gut. He has a daughter, a 7-year-old daughter who spent her entire life not knowing him because Elena ran away to protect her. "Have you found Elena yet?" "We're close. The Kozlov family has been moving women through a network of safe houses before shipping them overseas. But boss, if Elena's in that pipeline, we might only have 48 hours before she's gone forever. Then we have 48 hours to find her. Pull everyone we have. I want every Kozlov property searched. Every warehouse, every apartment, every business they own. That's going to start a war. Let it." Dante's voice is cold. "They took the mother of my child. They threatened my daughter. War is the least of what they have coming, but finding Elena proves harder than Dante anticipated. The Kozlovs are smart. They've scattered their operations across multiple locations, using legitimate businesses as fronts. Every lead goes nowhere. Every informant has nothing useful. And time is running out. Lucia wakes up screaming from a nightmare. Dante rushes to her room, finding her sobbing into her pillow. Without thinking, he sits on the edge of the bed and pulls her into his arms. I dreamed Mama was calling for me, but I couldn't find her. Lucia cries into his shoulder. I tried and tried, but she was gone. We're going to find her, Dante promises, even though he's not sure it's a promise he can keep. I won't stop looking until we do. What if the bad men hurt her? What if she's scared? Then we'll help her stop being scared. Dante smooths her hair back from her face. Your mother is strong, Lucia. If anyone can survive this, it's her. You love her, Lucia says. It's not a question. Dante thinks about Elena, about the way she used to laugh at his terrible jokes, about how she saw past his reputation to something human underneath, about the morning he woke up and she was just gone, no note, no explanation, just an empty apartment and unanswered questions. Yes, he says. I love her. In the basement, Elena has been moved to a different location. She can hear water, the sound of boats, and realizes she must be near the docks, which means they're preparing to move her, to put her on a ship where Dante will never find her. She's tried everything to escape. Broken the zip ties by rubbing them against a sharp edge of concrete, only to discover the door is locked with a deadbolt. Screamed for help until her voice was raw, but no one came. Now she sits in the darkness and does the only thing left. She talks to Dante like he can hear her. I'm sorry I left without telling you about the baby, she whispers. I'm sorry I kept Lucia from you all these years. I thought I was protecting both of you, but maybe I was just being a coward. She closes her eyes, picturing his face. If you found her, if she made it to you, please take care of our daughter. She's so smart, Dante. So brave. She has your eyes and your stubbornness and your way of seeing straight through people's lies to the truth underneath. Elena's voice breaks. I just wanted her to be safe. I wanted her to grow up without fear, without looking over her shoulder, without knowing what kind of man her father was. But I should have trusted you. I should have known you'd choose her over everything else. The door opens. Victor stands there with two of his men. It's time to go, Elena. The ship leaves in an hour. Where are you taking me? Does it matter? You'll never see your daughter again either way. Elena stands on shaking legs. Then before I go, I want you to know something. Dante Russo will find you. He will hunt you across the world if he has to. And when he does, he won't show mercy. Victor smiles. I'm counting on it. Dante is in his office, staring at maps and surveillance photos, when his phone rings. Unknown number. Mr. Russo, a woman's voice says. I have information about Elena Martelli. Who is this? Someone who was in the same basement as her 2 days ago. They moved us, but I escaped. Your woman is still there. Where? Pier 17. Old shipping warehouse. But Mr. Russo, you need to hurry. I heard them say they're moving her tonight. Dante is already grabbing his jacket, his gun. Why are you helping me? Because Elena talked about her daughter the whole time we were there. About how much she loves her. About how she'd do anything to get back to her. A woman who loves her child that much deserves to be saved. Dante assembles his team in minutes. Marco, Nico, and 6 of his best men. They arm themselves with everything they'll need for an assault on a fortified position. This isn't subtle or strategic. This is raw force applied with precision. Lucia appears in the hallway as they're preparing to leave. She takes in the weapons, the tactical gear, the grim expressions. You found Mama, she says. Maybe. Dante kneels down to her level. I need you to stay here with Maria. She's going to keep you safe while I'm gone. You're going to fight the bad men? Yes. Will you be careful? I promise. Lucia throws her arms around his neck. Bring her home, Daddy. Please bring her home. The word Daddy nearly breaks him. He holds his daughter tight for a moment, memorizing the feel of her small arms, the smell of her shampoo, the absolute trust in her voice. I will, he says. I swear I will. The warehouse at Pier 17 is exactly where the informant said it would be. Dante's team approaches from 3 directions, using the darkness and the sound of waves to mask their movements. They take out the perimeter guards silently, efficiently. No alarms raised, no warnings given. By the time they breach the main door, the Kozlovs inside barely have time to reach for their weapons. The firefight is brutal. Dante moves through it with cold precision, every shot calculated, every movement purposeful. He's not fighting for territory or respect or power. He's fighting for the woman he never stopped loving and the daughter he just discovered. They find Elena in a locked room on the second floor. She's standing with her back against the wall, a broken piece of pipe in her hands, ready to fight whoever comes through that door. When Dante kicks it open and she sees his face, she actually drops the pipe. "Dante?" Her voice is hoarse from screaming. "How did you find me? Our daughter told me where to look." Elena's eyes fill with tears. "She's safe? Lucia's okay? She's perfect." Dante moves toward her carefully, like she might disappear if he moves too fast. "She's brave and smart and stubborn as hell, just like her mother." "I'm sorry," Elena whispers. "I'm sorry I left. I'm sorry I didn't tell you." Dante reaches out and cups her face gently. "We'll talk about that later. Right now, we need to get you out of here." But as they turn to leave, Viktor Kozlov appears in the doorway with a gun pointed directly at Elena's chest. "You cost me everything, Dante Russo. Now I'll take everything from you." The shot rings out. But it's not Elena who falls. Dante has moved between her and the gun in a heartbeat, taking the bullet in his shoulder. He goes down hard, blood spreading across his shirt. "No!" Elena drops beside him, pressing her hands against the wound. Viktor aims again, but Marco appears behind him, gun pressed against the back of his head. "Drop it or I drop you." The standoff lasts 3 heartbeats. Then Viktor lowers his weapon, and Marco's men swarm in to take him into custody. "Dante, stay with me," Elena pleads, her hands slick with his blood. "Don't you dare die on me now. Not after everything." "Not planning on it," Dante manages through gritted teeth. "Have to get home," promised Lucia. The ambulance ride is a blur of sirens and pain. Elena holds Dante's hand the entire time, talking to him, keeping him conscious. "Do you remember the first time we met?" she asks. "At that cafe near your old apartment? You spilled coffee on me," Dante says weakly. "You were reading the newspaper and didn't see me coming." Elena is crying now, tears mixing with Dante's blood on her hands. "And instead of getting angry, you just laughed. You said it was the most excitement you'd had all week. Should have known then you'd be trouble. The best kind of trouble." At the hospital, doctors rush Dante into surgery. Elena is left in the waiting room, still covered in his blood, shaking with adrenaline and fear. She's just starting to process everything when the elevator opens and Lucia runs out, Maria chasing after her. "Mama!" Lucia crashes into Elena's arms, sobbing. "You're here. You're okay. You're real." Elena holds her daughter like she'll never let go. "I'm here, baby. I'm safe." But Lucia pulls back, looking around frantically. "Where's Daddy? Is he okay?" "He's in surgery. He got hurt saving me." "Is he going to die?" Elena forces herself to sound confident. "No. Your father is too stubborn to die." They wait for hours. Lucia falls asleep curled in Elena's lap, while nurses bring them blankets and coffee. Elena stares at the surgical ward doors, willing Dante to survive, promising everything she'll never believe in if he just pulls through. Finally, a surgeon emerges. The bullet missed all major arteries. He lost a lot of blood, but he'll make a full recovery. Elena starts crying with relief. "Can we see him?" "He's still unconscious, but you can sit with him." Dante's hospital room is quiet, except for the beep of monitors. He looks pale against the white sheets, younger somehow without the hard edge he usually carries. Elena sits in the chair beside his bed, holding his hand while Lucia sleeps in another chair. "You saved my life," Elena whispers. "After I left you, after I kept your daughter from you, after everything I did, you still saved my life." She leans her forehead against their joined hands. "I was so scared 8 years ago, scared of your world, scared of what it would do to our baby. I convinced myself that leaving was the brave choice, the right choice, but it was just cowardice dressed up as protection." Dante's hand twitches in hers. His eyes open slowly, unfocused at first, then finding her face. "Elena," he rasps, "you're here. Where else would I be? Safe. Away from me, away from all this." Elena shakes her head. "I tried that. Spent 8 years running from you, from your world, from my own feelings. All it got me was a daughter who grew up without her father and a life half-lived. So what now? Now we figure out how to be a family. The 3 of us. Together." Dante's eyes move to where Lucia is sleeping. "She found me, showed up in the rain with that old photograph, asked me to buy her bike so she could feed you." Elena laughs through tears. "That sounds like our daughter. Too brave for her own good. She gets that from you." "No." Elena squeezes his hand. "She gets that from both of us. If you're hooked on this story, Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. 2 weeks later, Dante is home and recovering. The penthouse has transformed completely. Lucia's drawings cover the refrigerator. Elena's art supplies are spread across the dining table. There's a child's laughter echoing through rooms that used to be silent. But the past doesn't disappear just because you want it to. Late one night, after Lucia is asleep, Elena and Dante finally have the conversation they've been avoiding. "I need to know why you really left," Dante says. Not the excuse about protection, the real reason. Elena is quiet for a long time. "When I found out I was pregnant, I was terrified, but also happy. I thought maybe we could have a normal life together. Then one night, I woke up and you weren't there. So I went looking for you." She takes a shaky breath. "I found you in that warehouse by the docks. There were 3 men on their knees. You had a gun. And Dante, the look on your face, it wasn't anger or rage. It was nothing. Like you were doing something as routine as taking out the trash." Dante closes his eyes. "That was a business dispute. Those men had stolen from me. I know. I know it was part of your world. But standing there, watching you, all I could think was, how do I raise a child around this? How do I explain to her that her father is a good man who sometimes has to do terrible things? So you ran." "I ran. Because I was young and scared and I didn't understand that people are more complicated than good or evil." Elena moves closer to him. "I didn't understand that you could be both the man who held me gently and the man who held that gun. And now I've had 8 years to think about it. 8 years of struggling alone. Of watching our daughter ask why she doesn't have a daddy like other kids. Of trying to convince myself I made the right choice." Elena's voice breaks. "But I didn't make the right choice, Dante. I made the coward's choice. You were protecting our daughter. I was protecting myself. From having to deal with the complicated reality of loving a dangerous man." Dante pulls her into his arms carefully, mindful of his healing shoulder. "And now? After everything that's happened? After you've seen exactly what my world can do? Now I choose to stay." Elena looks up at him. "Not because I'm trapped or scared or don't have options, but because I love you. I've loved you for 8 years even when I was trying not to, and our daughter deserves to grow up with both her parents. Even if one of those parents is a former crime boss, especially then. Because you're also the man who kept every promise to her, who risked everything to save me, who's trying to be better than what you were." They kiss then, slow and gentle, relearning each other after years apart. It's not the passionate kiss of new lovers. It's deeper, weighted with history and pain and choice. When they pull apart, Elena says, "But I have conditions." "Conditions? If we're doing this, if we're being a family, then you need to actually be out of your old life. No more warehouses at midnight. No more guns hidden around the apartment. No more enemies trying to use Lucia against you." Dante considers this. "I'm already working on it. Marco is taking over most of the operations. I'm selling off everything that's not legitimate. By the end of the month, I'll be out completely. And the part of you that misses it, the power, the control, the respect, that part of me needs to grow up and realize my daughter's smile is worth more than an empire built on fear." Elena studies his face. "You mean that?" "Every word." But transitioning out of his old life proves more complicated than Dante anticipated. His organization has tentacles reaching into dozens of businesses and hundreds of lives. People depend on him for protection, for income, for security, and not everyone is happy about his retirement. The first sign of trouble comes 2 weeks later. Dante is at Lucia's school for parent-teacher night when Marco calls. "Boss, we have a situation. 3 of your captains are meeting with the Sorelli family. Looks like they're planning to split your territory the moment you step down. Let them. I'm done with that life. Boss, if they sense weakness, they won't just take the territory. They'll come for you, for your family. Then make it clear that retirement doesn't mean I've forgotten how to fight." That night, Dante hosts a meeting at his penthouse. All his former lieutenants, all the men who've built their lives around his organization. Elena puts Lucia to bed early, but Dante knows she's listening from the bedroom. "I'm out," Dante tells the assembled men. "Effective immediately, Marco runs the operations. But let me be extremely clear about one thing. My family is off limits. Anyone who threatens them, anyone who even thinks about using them against me, will learn that I may be retired, but I'm not dead." One of the captains, a young hothead named Sal, speaks up. "And what if we don't accept Marco's leadership? What if we think the organization needs a stronger hand? Then you start your own organization. Dante says calmly. But you don't touch what's mine, you don't operate in my territory, and you don't mistake my choice to walk away for weakness. The meeting ends with an uneasy truce. Most of the men accept the transition, but Dante can tell a few are already planning to test him. Elena is waiting when the last man leaves. How bad is it? Could be worse. Most of them understand this is about family, not fear, and the ones who don't will learn the hard way. But Elena is quiet, and Dante can see the worry in her eyes. What is it? I'm scared, she admits. Not for me, but for Lucia. She's already been through so much. I don't want her childhood to be defined by danger and fear. It won't be. Dante pulls her close. I promise you, whatever it takes, I'll make sure our daughter grows up safe. That promise is tested 3 days later when Lucia's school calls. There's been an incident. A man tried to pick up Lucia, claiming to be her uncle. The teachers didn't release her. But it's clear someone knows where she goes to school. Elena is terrified. We need to leave. Tonight. Just disappear somewhere they can't find us. Running won't solve this, Dante says, though every protective instinct is screaming at him to do exactly what Elena suggests. These men respect strength. If I run, I look weak. If I look weak, more will come. So what do? We end this. Permanently. Dante calls in every favor he's owed. Reaches out to people in law enforcement, in government, in the legitimate business world. He builds a case against the men threatening his family, using evidence he's been collecting for years. And then he does something unprecedented. He offers to testify. Boss, you can't. Marco says when Dante tells him the plan. You testify against made men. You break the code. Every family in the country will put a target on you. They already have. This way, at least some of them go to prison first. The trial takes 3 months. During that time, Elena and Lucia live in protective custody. Dante sees them on weekends, under heavy guard, always aware that this might be the last time. Lucia doesn't understand why they can't all be together. Why are we hiding? She asks. Why can't we just go home? Because Daddy's doing something very brave, Elena explains. He's making sure the bad men can't hurt anyone else ever again. Will it work? Elena looks at Dante. Yes, it will work. Dante's testimony puts 14 men in prison. It also makes him a pariah in the criminal underworld. A rat. A traitor. A man who broke the most sacred rule of their world. But it also means his family is safe. The day the trial ends, federal agents escort them to a safe house in a quiet suburb 3 states away. New names, new identities, new lives. The penthouse, the cars, the empire. All of it left behind. Lucia adapts quickly, the way children do. Within weeks, she has friends at her new school. Within a month, she's asking to join the soccer team. The nightmares become less frequent. The fear in her eyes fades. Elena takes longer to adjust. She's used to looking over her shoulder, used to expecting danger. But slowly, she starts to relax, starts to believe they might actually be safe. One evening, 6 months after the move, Dante finds her in the backyard watching Lucia play with the neighbor kids. You okay? He asks, sitting beside her on the porch steps. I'm thinking about the first time we met, at that cafe, before everything got complicated. We were so young. Elena laughs. You were already running half the city's underground. I was a waitress who didn't know any better than to flirt with a dangerous man. Best decision you ever made. Was it, though? Elena looks at him seriously. Sometimes I wonder if I'd known what our life would become. Would I still have talked to you that day? Dante's chest tightens. Would you? Elena is quiet for a long moment, watching Lucia laugh with her friends. Then she takes his hand. Yes, because all of it, the fear and the running and the pain, it led to her, and she's worth everything. Even testifying? Even losing your whole world? That wasn't my world, Dante. Elena gestures at their modest suburban house, at Lucia playing in the yard, at the ordinary life they've built. This is my world. You and her. Everything else was just noise. That night, after Lucia's asleep, Dante pulls out a small box he's been hiding in his sock drawer. Inside is a ring. Simple, elegant, nothing like the ostentatious diamonds he could have afforded in his old life. Elena Martelli, he says, getting down on one knee in their small living room. I know we did everything backwards. Had a kid before we figured out we loved each other. Built a life before we dealt with the past. But I'm asking you now, officially, will you marry me? Elena starts crying. You're really asking me this? After everything? Especially after everything. Because now I know what matters. Now I understand that you're the only thing worth fighting for. Yes. Elena pulls him to his feet and kisses him. Yes. I'll marry you. Again. Properly this time. They get married 2 months later in a small ceremony at the courthouse. Lucia is their only attendee, wearing a purple dress she picked out herself, carrying a bouquet of daisies. She stands between them during the vows, holding both their hands. Do you, Dante Michael Russo, the judge says, using Dante's new legal name. I do. And do you, Elena Maria Martelli, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? I do. Lucia cheers when they kiss, loud enough that people in the courthouse hallway turn to look, but none of them care. They're too busy being happy, being whole, being finally safe. That night, the three of them have dinner at a chain restaurant where no one knows their real names or their complicated past. They eat mediocre pasta and laugh at Lucia's jokes and look like any normal family celebrating, because that's what they are now. Normal, ordinary, free. Later, Dante and Elena stand on their small porch, watching fireflies blink in the darkness. Lucia is asleep upstairs, exhausted from the excitement of the day. Do you miss it? Elena asks. The power, the respect, the life you had? Dante thinks about his old penthouse, his organization, the fear and deference that followed him everywhere. Then he thinks about Lucia's laughter, Elena's hand in his, the simple peace of knowing his family is safe. Not even a little bit, he says. This, right here, this is everything I never knew I wanted. Elena leans against him. Thank you for choosing us, for giving up everything to keep us safe. You and Lucia aren't a sacrifice. You're the prize. Everything else was just me finally being smart enough to know the difference. They stand there in the darkness, holding each other, listening to the sounds of their daughter sleeping peacefully upstairs. No bodyguards, no enemies, no fear. Just a family who survived everything the world threw at them and came out the other side still standing, still loving, still whole. A year later, Dante is coaching Lucia's soccer team when a black SUV pulls up to the field. For a moment, his old instincts kick in. His hand moves toward where he used to keep his gun, scanning for threats, calculating escape routes. But it's just Marco, getting out of the car with a huge smile on his face. Boss, he calls, then catches himself. Sorry, Dante. Old habits. Dante walks over, leaving Lucia with the other kids. What are you doing here? This is supposed to be a clean break. I know, but I had to tell you in person. Marco hands him a newspaper. Viktor Kozlov died in prison yesterday. Heart attack. The last man who knew your real identity, who could have come after you. He's gone. Dante stares at the obituary. It's really over. It's really over. Marco claps him on the shoulder. You're free, my friend. Completely, totally free. After Marco leaves, Dante walks back to where Elena is sitting in the stands. He shows her the newspaper, watches her read the obituary twice to make sure she understands. It's over, he says. We're safe. Elena starts crying. Happy tears this time. We're safe. Lucia scores a goal and comes running over to them, sweaty and beaming. Did you see? Did you see me score? We saw a baby, Elena says, pulling her into a hug. You were amazing. Can we get ice cream to celebrate? Absolutely, Dante says. They go to the local ice cream shop where Lucia orders the biggest sundae they have. She gets chocolate syrup all over her face and tells them every detail of the game, replaying each moment with the enthusiasm only a child can muster. Dante watches his daughter talk, watches Elena laugh at her stories, watches the ordinary magic of a Sunday afternoon with his family. This is what he fought for. This is what he gave up everything to protect. And it was worth every single sacrifice. That night, after Lucia is asleep, Elena curls up against Dante on their second-hand couch in their modest living room. Tell me something, she says. If you could go back, would you change anything? Dante thinks about this. The violence, the crime, the years of living in darkness. But also, those years led him to Elena, led to Lucia, led to this moment. I'd tell you I was falling in love with you sooner, he says. I'd fight harder to find you when you left. I'd be there for Lucia's first steps, her first words, all the years I missed. But the rest? The rest made me who I needed to be to protect you both. So no, I wouldn't change it. Elena kisses him softly. We're going to have a good life, Dante. A normal, boring, beautiful life. Promise? Promise. 5 years later, Lucia is 12 years old and angry. She's just found out the truth about her father's past, discovered through a school project that required researching family history. The truth her parents thought they could hide forever. You lied to me, she says, standing in the living room with tears streaming down her face. All these years, you lied. Dante and Elena exchange glances. They knew this conversation would come eventually, but they'd hoped for more time. We didn't lie, sweetheart, Elena says carefully. We just didn't tell you everything. You were a criminal. Lucia's voice rises. A mafia boss. People died because of you. Yes, Dante says simply. They did. And you're just, what, okay with that? No, I'm not okay with it. But I can't change the past, Lucia. I can only try to be better in the present. Lucia looks at him with betrayal in her eyes. How am I supposed to trust anything you say when you built our entire life on lies? Because every choice I've made for the past 8 years has been about keeping you safe, Dante says. Everything I gave up, everyone I became, it was all for you. I didn't ask you to do that. No, but I did it anyway. Because that's what parents do. They make hard choices so their children don't have to. Lucia runs to her room, slamming the door behind her. Elena starts to follow, but Dante stops her. Let her process. She needs time. What if she never forgives us? Then we keep showing up every day until she does. It takes weeks. Weeks of Lucia avoiding them, eating dinner in silence, rushing out of the room when they enter. Weeks of Elena crying quietly at night, wondering if they've lost their daughter's trust forever. Then one evening, Lucia comes downstairs and sits at the kitchen table where Dante is working. Tell me about it, she says. Not the sanitized version. The real story. Why you did what you did. So, Dante tells her. Everything. The poverty he grew up in. The violence that shaped him. The choices that seemed necessary at the time. He doesn't make excuses or justify. He just tells the truth. When he finishes, Lucia is quiet for a long time. Did you ever kill anyone who didn't deserve it? She finally asks. Dante wants to lie, to make himself look better, but he owes her honesty. I don't know. In the moment, I thought they all deserved it. Looking back, I'm not so sure. The line between justice and revenge gets blurry when you're the one holding the gun. Lucia processes this. And Mom? Why did she stay with you? She didn't at first. She ran. But eventually, she chose to come back. That's the important part, Lucia. Your mother chose this life, knowing everything about me. Lucia looks at him with eyes that are so much like his own. Are you still that person? The one who did those things? I don't know. I carry him with me every day. But I try to be someone better. Someone worthy of being your father. Tears start running down Lucia's face. I'm scared that I have bad inside me too. Like it's genetic or something. Oh, sweetheart. Dante pulls her into a hug. We all have darkness in us. The question isn't whether it exists, but what we choose to do with it. What if I make the same mistakes you did? Then your mother and I will be here to help you find your way back. That's what family does. Slowly, painfully, they rebuild trust. Lucia starts joining them for dinner again. Starts talking about school, about her friends, about normal 12-year-old problems. The anger doesn't disappear completely, but it softens into something more like understanding. On her 13th birthday, Lucia asks for something unusual. I want to visit where you grew up. I want to see where you came from. So Dante takes his daughter and wife back to the old neighborhood. It hasn't changed much in 15 years. Same broken streetlights, same crumbling buildings, same sense of hope deferred. This is where I lived until I was 16, Dante says, pointing at a building that should probably be condemned. 4th floor, corner apartment, 3 families sharing 1 bathroom. Lucia stares at the building. This is where you decided to be a criminal? This is where I decided to survive. The criminal part came later. They walk through the neighborhood, Dante pointing out landmarks from his past. The corner where he saw his first murder. The alley where he made his first protection money. The store where he used to steal food because there wasn't enough at home. And this, Dante says, stopping outside a small cafe that's now closed down. This is where I met your mother. Elena takes his hand. You bought me coffee and asked if I believed in second chances. Lucia looks between them. What did you say? That everyone deserves a second chance. Even dangerous men who buy overpriced lattes. Dante laughs. It was overpriced. I complained about it for weeks, but you kept coming back. Elena says softly, because the coffee wasn't what I was there for. They spend the day walking through Dante's past. And by the end, Lucia seems to understand better. Not forgiving, exactly, but understanding. Seeing how a scared boy from a bad neighborhood became a criminal, then a father, then someone trying desperately to be better than he was. That night, Lucia hugs both her parents goodnight. "I love you," she says. "Even though you're complicated and messed up and made terrible choices, I love you anyway." "That's all anyone can ask for," Elena says, holding her daughter tight. 2 years after Lucia's 13th birthday, Elena stands in the kitchen of their modest suburban home, staring at a letter that arrived this morning. The return address makes her blood run cold. It's from the parole board in New York. Dante finds her there an hour later, still holding the unopened envelope. "What is it?" he asks, though something in his voice suggests he already knows. "One of your former lieutenants is up for parole. They want you to testify at the hearing." Dante takes the letter from her trembling hands. Sal Delgado, the hothead who questioned his leadership all those years ago, who'd been caught running his own operation while Dante was transitioning out. "Are you going to do it?" Elena asks. Dante looks at his wife. Really looks at her. She's in her late 30s now, with a few strands of silver threading through her dark hair, laugh lines around her eyes from 15 years of learning to be happy again. She's more beautiful to him now than she was at 25. "Do you want me to?" Elena is quiet for a long moment. Then she surprises him. "Yes, I think you should." "Why?" "Because running from your past didn't work for me. Hiding from it didn't protect Lucia. Maybe facing it head on is the only way to really be free." That night, after Lucia goes to bed, they talk for hours about what going back to New York might mean. The memories it will dredge up. The people who might still hold grudges. The life they've worked so hard to leave behind. "I'm scared," Elena admits, curled against Dante on the couch. "Not of physical danger, but of losing this. Losing us. What if going back changes you?" Dante tilts her chin up so she's looking at him. "The man I was when I ruled that city? He's gone. He died the moment I chose you and Lucia over everything else. Going back won't resurrect him. Promise?" "Promise." Dante kisses her softly. "Besides, you'll be with me. You're the one who keeps me human. You put too much faith in me." "No, I put exactly the right amount. Without you, I'd still be that cold bastard who thought power mattered more than love." Elena traces the scar on his shoulder where Victor's bullet hit him all those years ago. "Sometimes I look at you and I still can't believe you're real. That you chose this ordinary life with me. There's nothing ordinary about you, Elena. You're the bravest person I know. I ran away from you for 8 years. That's not brave. You came back. That's the bravest thing anyone's ever done." The trip to New York is planned for the following month. Lucia insists on coming with them, 15 years old now, and fiercely protective of both her parents. They book a modest hotel in Midtown, far from the old neighborhoods that hold too many ghosts. The first night back in the city, Dante can't sleep. He stands at the hotel window, looking out at the skyline, remembering the man who used to own a piece of this view, who had power and respect and absolutely no idea what real wealth looked like. Elena wakes to find the bed empty. She joins him at the window, wrapping her arms around him from behind. "Talk to me," she says. "What are you thinking?" "That I used to look at this city and see territory. Now I look at it and see the place where I almost lost everything that matters. But you didn't lose it. We're here, together." Dante turns to face her, pulling her close. "I need you to understand something. When we walk into that courthouse tomorrow, people are going to look at me like I'm a traitor, like I broke every code they live by. And I need you to know that I'd do it again. 1,000 times over. Because those codes, that life, it meant nothing compared to keeping you safe." Elena cups his face in her hands. "I know exactly who you are, Dante Russo. You're the man who gave up an empire for his family. You're the man who testifies against criminals because it's the right thing to do. You're the man I chose to spend my life with." They make love that night with the city lights streaming through the window. It's slow and tender and desperate all at once, reaffirming their commitment, reminding each other that they've survived worse than a parole hearing. Afterward, Elena lies with her head on Dante's chest, listening to his heartbeat. "Do you remember the first time?" she asks. "Really remember it?" "The night you told me you loved me," Dante says immediately. "We were in my old apartment. You'd made dinner, which was terrible, by the way." "It was not terrible." Elena laughs. "Okay, it was a little terrible. But you ate every bite, because I was already so far gone for you that even your cooking tasted like heaven." Elena props herself up on one elbow, looking down at him. Why didn't you come after me when I left? You had resources, connections. You could have found me in a week. Dante's expression grows serious. Because you left a note. Just one line. Please don't look for me. And I loved you enough to respect that, even though it killed me. I was so stupid, Elena whispers. So scared of what loving you meant that I threw away 8 years we could have had together. We have now. That's what matters. Do you ever wonder what our life would have been like if I hadn't run? If I'd stayed and told you about the pregnancy? All the time. Dante tucks a strand of hair behind her ear. I imagine being there when Lucia was born, watching her first steps, teaching her to ride a bike. All the moments I missed. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I took that from you. I know. And I forgive you. I forgave you the moment I saw you in that basement. Dante's voice is fierce now. You were so brave, Elena. Broken and terrified and still ready to fight with a piece of pipe. That's when I knew nothing had changed. I was still completely in love with you. Elena kisses him then, deep and passionate, trying to convey everything words can't express. The gratitude, the love, the commitment to never run again. The parole hearing the next day is exactly as difficult as they anticipated. Sal Delgado sits in his prison jumpsuit, glaring at Dante with pure hatred. His lawyer makes impassioned arguments about rehabilitation and second chances. Then it's Dante's turn to speak. He stands at the podium, Elena sitting in the gallery behind him, and tells the truth. About the violence Sal committed, about the drug operations he ran that destroyed families, about the teenager who overdosed on product Sal sold him. But Dante also talks about the system that creates men like Sal. The poverty, the lack of opportunity, the feeling that crime is the only path to respect and security. I was lucky, Dante says, looking directly at the parole board. I had someone who loved me enough to make me want to change. Someone who showed me there was another way to live. Sal hasn't had that. If you release him now, without support, without resources, he'll go right back to the life he knows. The board deliberates for an hour. When they return, Sal's parole is denied. But Dante has also arranged something else. A spot in a vocational training program. A job waiting when Sal's sentence is complete. A chance at the kind of second chance Dante received. Sal looks at him with confusion. Why? He asks as guards lead him away. After everything, why would you help me? Because someone helped me once, Dante says. And I'm trying to pay it forward. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm them. Cameras flash, questions are shouted. But Dante takes Elena's hand and walks past them all without a word. Some stories aren't for public consumption. They spend the rest of their time in New York visiting the old neighborhoods. Not to relive the past, but to see how far they've come. Elena shows Dante the tiny apartment where she lived with Lucia, where they survived on food stamps and determination. This was home, Elena says, looking up at the rundown building. For 8 years, this was all we had. Dante sees the broken windows, the graffiti, the desperation soaking into the bricks. His daughter grew up here while he slept in penthouses and counted money. The injustice of it makes his chest tight. I'm sorry you had to struggle alone. I wasn't alone. I had Lucia. Elena takes his hand. And honestly, some of my happiest memories are from this apartment. Reading to her at night, playing games we made up because we couldn't afford toys. The way she'd laugh when I did silly voices for her bedtime stories. She sounds like an incredible mother. I did my best. It wasn't always enough, but I tried. That night, they take Lucia to the cafe where Dante and Elena first met. It's changed ownership 3 times, but the bones are the same. The corner booth where they used to sit. The window where Elena would watch for him to arrive. This is where Dad swept Mom off her feet? Lucia asks, looking around skeptically. This is where I bought the most expensive coffee in New York, just to have an excuse to talk to her, Dante corrects. You talked to me first, Elena reminds him. Asked if this seat was taken, even though the cafe was half empty. I wanted to sit close to you. Sue me. Lucia watches her parents tease each other, and something in her expression softens. For years, she's struggled with the weight of their complicated history. But seeing them like this, relaxed and in love and clearly devoted to each other, helps her understand. Tell me the real story, she says. Not the sanitized version you told me when I was little. The actual truth about how you fell in love. Elena and Dante exchange glances. Then Elena begins. I noticed him before he talked to me. Hard not to notice a guy who walked in like he owned the place and ordered a $7 latte without blinking. This was a neighborhood where $7 was grocery money for 3 days. I thought you were beautiful, Dante adds. But also, you looked at me like I was just a guy, not like I was someone to be afraid of. Do you know how rare that was? Because I didn't know who you were, Elena says. Everyone else in the cafe got quiet when you walked in, but I just saw a handsome man in an expensive suit who looked lonely. I was lonely. I had money, power, respect, but no one who actually saw me. Then this waitress with paint under her fingernails and the most incredible smile asked if I wanted a refill. I thought you'd flirt and leave, Elena continues. That's what guys like you did. But you came back the next day. And the day after, you'd sit in that corner booth and work on your laptop and drink terrible coffee just to be near me. Best month of my life, Dante says, before everything got complicated. When did it get complicated? Lucia asks. Elena's smile fades. When I saw him at that warehouse. When I realized the gentle man who brought me flowers every Tuesday was the same man who held a gun to someone's head without blinking. But you didn't leave right away, Dante says. You stayed for another 2 months. Tried to reconcile those two versions of me. I wanted to believe you could change. That love could transform you into someone different. Elena's voice drops. But then I found out I was pregnant, and I got scared. Scared that our child would grow up in violence. Scared that I'd have to explain why her father did terrible things. So I ran. Worst day of my life, Dante says quietly. Coming home to find you gone. No note, no explanation. Just empty closets and a silence that felt like death. I left a note, Elena protests. It said, please don't look for me. That's not a note. That's cowardice, wrapped in 3 words. The honesty of the statement makes Elena flinch. But she doesn't deny it. You're right, I was a coward. And I'm sorry. Lucia watches this exchange with fascination. It's the first time she's seen her parents be completely honest about their past. No sugarcoating for her benefit. So how did you get back together? She asks. Besides the whole kidnapping rescue thing. We didn't, Elena says. Not right away. After Dante rescued me, we were focused on keeping everyone safe, on getting out of that life. The romance part came later, much later. Dante agrees. Your mother didn't trust me. I didn't blame her. I'd kept secrets, lived a double life, put her in danger. We had to rebuild from the ground up. That first year was hard, Elena says. We were living in protective custody, using fake names, always looking over our shoulders. Not exactly romantic, but there were moments, Dante says, looking at Elena with such tenderness that Lucia feels like she's intruding. Late nights after you'd gone to bed, when your mom and I would sit on the porch and just talk, relearning each other, figuring out who we were now versus who we'd been. I fell in love with him all over again, Elena admits. This version of Dante who coached your soccer team and made terrible pancakes and read bedtime stories with all the dramatic voices. He wasn't trying to be someone he wasn't. He was just trying to be good enough for us. That's still what I'm trying to do, Dante says. Every single day. The moment is interrupted by Lucia's phone buzzing. She glances at it, and her expression changes from thoughtful to excited. It's Jake, she says. He wants to know if I can video chat. Jake is Lucia's boyfriend of 6 months. A nice kid from her school who plays guitar and wants to be a music teacher. Dante has vetted him thoroughly, which Lucia finds both embarrassing and touching. Go ahead, Elena says. We'll order dessert while you talk. After Lucia steps outside to take the call, Dante and Elena sit in comfortable silence. The cafe has emptied out around them, just them and memories that aren't quite as painful as they used to be. She's so much like you, Dante says. That fierce independence. The way she protects the people she loves. She's like both of us. Your stubbornness and my overthinking. That's a terrifying combination. Elena laughs, then grows serious. Thank you for this trip. For facing the past with me. I know it wasn't easy. Nothing worth doing is easy. Dante takes her hand across the table. But doing it with you makes it bearable. When did you become such a romantic? I've always been a romantic. I just had to find the right person to be romantic with. Smooth talker. It's gotten me this far, hasn't it? They're flirting like teenagers, both very aware that their daughter could walk back in at any moment. But they don't stop. After 15 years together, after everything they've survived, they've earned the right to be ridiculous with each other. That night, back at the hotel, Lucia is asleep in the adjoining room when Elena emerges from the bathroom wearing lingerie Dante has never seen before. When did you buy that? he asks, his voice rough. Before we left. Elena walks toward him slowly, confidence in every step. I wanted to remind you why you gave up an empire for me. I don't need reminders. Dante pulls her onto the bed. I know exactly why. Tell me anyway. Because you're the only person who ever made me want to be better than I am. Because you gave me a daughter who sees the best in me, even when I can't see it myself. Because 15 years later, I'm still not over you. Elena kisses him deeply. I'm never going to let you be over me. They make love with the urgency of people who've almost lost each other too many times. It's not gentle or slow. It's passionate and desperate and real. A reminder that they're alive, they're together, they've won. Afterward, Elena traces patterns on Dante's chest. Do you ever think about what you'd be doing right now if I hadn't come back into your life? I'd be miserable. Rich and powerful and completely empty. What if you'd met someone else? Found love another way? Dante is quiet for a moment. I don't think I would've. You broke something in me when you left, made me incapable of trusting anyone else enough to let them in. That's depressing. It's honest. Elena, you weren't just my first love. You were my only love. Everything before you was just going through the motions. Elena props herself up to look at him. That's a lot of pressure. What if I'd stayed gone? What if you'd never found me? Then I would have spent my life looking. Dante's voice is absolutely certain. Some people spend their whole lives searching for what we have. I would have searched forever. Lucky for you. I'm terrible at staying hidden. Lucky for me, our daughter is brilliant and brave, and knew exactly where to find me. They talk late into the night, processing everything the trip has brought up. The guilt Elena still carries for running. The regret Dante holds for not being there during Lucia's childhood. The gratitude they both feel for getting a second chance most people never receive. We should renew our vows, Elena says suddenly. Do it right this time. Not at a courthouse with just Lucia, but surrounded by the life we've built. Dante considers this. You want a wedding? I want to marry you in front of everyone. Show the world that I choose you, every day, with full knowledge of who you were and who you are. When? Lucia's 16th birthday. She can help plan it. Make it a celebration of our family, not just our marriage. Elena Russo, are you getting sentimental on me? Completely. Is that a problem? Not even a little bit. They fall asleep tangled together. Dante's hand splayed possessively across Elena's hip, her head tucked under his chin. After all these years, they still can't sleep without touching. Still need the physical confirmation that the other is real, is here, is staying. The next morning, they tell Lucia about the vow renewal over breakfast. Her reaction is pure teenage enthusiasm. Can I help plan everything? She asks. Please say I can help. Of course you can help, Elena says. This is about all of us. Our family. Can Jake come? Dante's jaw tightens slightly. He's still adjusting to the idea of his daughter dating. To your mother's wedding? Seems premature. Dante. Elena says warningly. Fine. Yes, Jake can come. Lucia squeals and immediately starts making lists on her phone. Flowers, music, venue, food. She's a whirlwind of planning energy. She's very excited, Dante observes. She wants us to be happy. Elena takes his hand. And we are, aren't we? Despite everything. Dante looks at his daughter planning enthusiastically, at his wife smiling beside him, at the life they've built from the wreckage of his past. Yeah, we really are. The rest of their time in New York passes in a blur. They visit museums, eat at restaurants they couldn't afford in the old days, walk through Central Park like tourists. By the time they board the plane home, all three of them are exhausted but lighter somehow, like facing the past has finally released its hold on them. Back in their quiet suburb, they throw themselves into planning the vow renewal. Elena wants something intimate, maybe 30 people, in their backyard. Lucia argues for a band and a dance floor. Dante just wants to make sure both his girls are happy. Marco calls 2 weeks before the ceremony. Dante. Old habits. I heard about the vow renewal. Congratulations. Thank you. Are you coming? Try to keep me away. But listen, there's something you should know. Word got out about the ceremony. Some of the old crew want to attend. Pay their respects. Dante's first instinct is to say no, to keep that world far away from this celebration. But then he thinks about second chances, about the redemption he's found, about how hypocritical it would be to deny others the same opportunity. Tell them they're welcome, but make it clear this is a family event. No business talk, No reminders of the old life. They come to celebrate, or they don't come at all. Understood. The day of the vow renewal arrives with perfect spring weather. Their backyard has been transformed with string lights and flowers. A small group of friends and neighbors gather, along with a few faces from Dante's past who look uncomfortable in their suits, trying to figure out how to be normal. Lucia walks Elena down the makeshift aisle to where Dante waits under an arbor covered in roses. Elena wears a simple cream dress that makes her look like she's glowing. Dante wears a dark suit that would cost a fraction of what his old wardrobe used to, but he's never felt more confident. The officiant is their neighbor, a retired judge who's become a friend. She speaks about second chances and choosing love every day and building a life from the foundation of commitment. Then it's time for their vows. Dante goes first. Elena, 15 years ago, I thought I knew what love was. I thought it was possession and control, and never showing weakness. Then you walked into my life and destroyed every assumption I'd ever made. Elena is already crying. You taught me that real strength is vulnerability. That power means nothing if you're alone. That the bravest thing a man can do is admit he needs someone. Dante's voice is steady despite the emotion. I gave up everything I thought mattered to keep you safe, and I'd do it again tomorrow without hesitation. Because you and Lucia, you're not what I gave up everything for. You're everything I gained. He pulls out a ring, a replacement for the simple band he gave her at the courthouse. This one has 3 stones. A diamond for Elena, a sapphire for Lucia, a ruby for himself. This ring represents our family, 3 separate pieces that only make sense together. I promise to honor that, to choose you, to choose us, every single day for the rest of my life. Elena can barely see through her tears as Dante slides the ring onto her finger. Then it's her turn. Dante, when I met you, I thought I was seeing 2 different people. The gentle man who brought me flowers, and the dangerous man who ruled through fear. I spent years trying to reconcile those versions of you. Elena takes a shaky breath. But the truth is, you were never 2 people. You were always just one man trying to survive in a world that taught him the wrong lessons about what matters. She pulls out her own ring, a simple band engraved with the date they first met. This ring represents the moment everything changed for both of us. The day you walked into that cafe and decided to be brave enough to talk to me. The day I decided to be brave enough to talk back. I didn't know then that you'd become my whole world. That you'd give me a daughter and a life and a love I never imagined possible. Elena's voice breaks. I ran from you once because I was afraid. But I promise you now, in front of everyone who matters, I will never run again. I choose you. I choose this complicated, messy, beautiful life we've built. I choose us. She slides the ring onto Dante's finger, and when the judge pronounces them husband and wife again, the kiss they share is witnessed by their daughter, their friends, and a handful of reformed criminals who wouldn't have missed this for the world. The reception that follows is surprisingly normal. Music plays, people dance. Lucia gives a speech that makes everyone laugh and cry. Jake, the boyfriend, plays guitar and serenades Elena and Dante with a song he wrote specifically for them. As the sun sets and fairy lights twinkle in the trees, Dante pulls Elena onto the makeshift dance floor for their first dance as newly renewed husband and wife. Happy? He asks, holding her close. Beyond measure, Elena says. You? I married my best friend twice. I think I might be the luckiest man alive. They sway to the music, surrounded by the life they've built. And for the first time in 15 years, neither of them is looking over their shoulder. Neither of them is waiting for the past to catch up. They're just here, in this moment, choosing each other all over again. Lucia cuts in halfway through the song, wanting to dance with her father. Dante obliges, and Elena watches them together, her heart so full it aches. Later, after guests have left and Lucia has gone to bed exhausted, Dante and Elena stand in their backyard among the remnants of the celebration. Best day ever? Elena asks. Second best, Dante corrects. The best was the day I met you. Everything since then has just been various degrees of trying to live up to that moment. That's very smooth. I have my moments. Dante pulls her into his arms. Thank you for giving me this life, for seeing past who I was to who I could be. Thank you for becoming that person, for choosing us over everything else. They kiss under the fairy lights, 2 people who almost lost each other a dozen different ways but somehow found their way back every time. Not because it was easy, but because some loves are worth fighting for, worth changing for, worth giving up entire empires for. And as they walk inside together, hand in hand, they know that whatever comes next, they'll face it together, because that's what they do. That's what they've always done. They survive, they love, they choose each other. every single day. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.